Hello, I'm Eric Snodgrass. Thank you for watching today's Ag Forecast, brought to you by Agrible, your premier platform for real-time global insights. Well, I thought I'd rewind the clock a year. This is what we were looking at a year ago right now. And you see this little circulation right here? That was the beginnings of the second most costliest U.S. natural disaster in history. And this was the beginnings of Hurricane Harvey, a hurricane that went across the Yucatan Peninsula, weakening significantly, but then gaining a lot of strength back here in the Gulf of Mexico before making landfall in Texas, dropping in some locations over 50 inches of rain. Well, the good news is right now the tropics are very quiet. We've been talking about this quite a bit. Some of the main players keeping it so quiet have not only been Saharan dust, but also we're dealing with, we can see cooler than average temperatures in the main development region, so that suppresses the development of tropical thunderstorms. And when you look up here in this top map and see red, this is showing us where we have higher than average wind shear, and hurricanes can't tolerate wind shear. So quite a different story now compared to a year ago. Things very, very quiet at this point in the season. Okay. Big things we have to be talking about in this video is kind of all summarized right here in this snapshot. These are a bunch of images stitched together from one of NASA's satellites called MODIS. It's one of our higher resolution satellites that we have from NASA, giving us this broad perspective here. And the big things we're going to deal with is we do have a low that's kind of churning across the country. It's going to be heading off in this direction. So this is this large cloud cover here, which we're going to be dealing with for the next couple of days. And then just look at all the smoke in Canada. Look at all the smoke in the western United States. We are still dealing with a lot of fires, but change is coming and we've got to talk about it, okay? I want to start off with an animation just so you can kind of see what we're dealing with here in the near term. So this is a satellite animation from Sunday. And on Sunday, we saw the circulation of this deep low pressure system moving across the middle part of the country, kind of rocking back and forth here. You know, this looks more like something I'd expect to see in spring or winter or fall, deep late in fall. But I want you to notice something right at the very end, right along the tail end of this, where this front is kind of draped. We saw some nasty storms in parts of Missouri, Arkansas, Oklahoma, and even back into Texas on Sunday night, some producing tornadoes and hail. You can see as I get toward the end of this, as the sun is setting here, look at all the smoke and the haze that is occupying the western U.S. Well, this is our main system moving through the country. This is one we talked about last time, and it's what we really have to discuss in this video. So it's going to be a lot about precipitation at the beginning of this video and a lot about temperature at the end. The map that's over there on the left, that was the latest drought monitor update that came out last Thursday. And we know that we've been discussing quite a bit the developing drought right into this section of the middle part of the country over the last 3 months, basically. That drought migrated, was once kind of sitting right here in the higher plains, but the southern kind of higher plains, and has certainly migrated east. So we're very, very dry in this area, and we're at the point where adding precipitation in through parts of Missouri, Kansas is just not going to be enough to revive the crop. So I'm going to look outside of it. So what I did was I highlighted regions on this map that shows you the last 14 days of precipitation expressed as a percent of normal, where if we get the rain in the next couple of days or in the next week, we could continue to make this crop, this overall corn and soybean crop and wheat crop, look, especially the corn and soybeans, look even better than what we've already seen reported. And so it's those pockets, those areas I've got highlighted in yellow, yeah, they're kind of scattered about there, that we have to be paying attention to. So let's hone in on it, try to figure this one out. In the last 3 days, we have already added much needed precipitation to parts of North and South Dakota. This region right in through here especially needed this rain. We did get quite a bit of hit or miss shower and thunderstorm activity across northern parts of Illinois, and thankfully in parts of southeastern Nebraska, southern Iowa, getting over into Missouri and Kansas. This section in through here, which desperately needed rain, got it. And where we already have drought established down here in Arkansas, some very, very heavy thunderstorms moving through that area. So we did at least get some of those regions we just talked about some precipitation. But what's in store in the forecast? First of all, remember we were doing some model comparison in my last video update, just to show you why I've been using the European model. Here's the perfect evidence for it. See that map on the right? That's when I showed you my last video update way back on Thursday morning. And I said the long-range forecast for Monday night showed a low-pressure system sitting somewhere in the Illinois, Iowa, Wisconsin border And guess what? That's exactly where it is now being forecast to be tomorrow. And therefore, the consistency of the European model is why I've really steered away from showing you much of the global U.S. model called the GFS. So this is the thing we're going to have to talk about, because this could be the thing, the system that brings the rain to the places that need it. So I'm going to run for you our high resolution NAM model, North American Mesoscale model, showing you total accumulated precipitation starting at 11 p.m. on Sunday night, the 19th, running through the next 60 hours. So here it goes. We can see the circulation of that low pressure system moving toward the Great Lakes. And so what I want you to hone in on here is that we will see a heavier band of precipitation, it looks like, through parts of Iowa, getting through southern Illinois, northern Wisconsin. Try that all again. Southern Wisconsin and through northern Illinois. Out ahead of it, we will see a front that is going to get dragged through this area. And as it gets pulled through the Mississippi River Valley over to the Ohio River Valley, we will be out on the lookout for severe weather. So some strong storms potentially developing there. After that system exits and a little ridge kind of builds back in, we will see the southwestern monsoon kick up. So this is going to go through parts of Utah, Colorado, really the Four Corner states. And there is another little shortwave moving through parts of Montana that's going to kick out here. It's why you see a lot of the showers and thunderstorms in Montana right now. So this is it. This is kind of our major player throughout this week. So let's kind of break this down piecewise. I love showing you these these 6 panel plots, because they really help us understand the three-dimensional flow of the atmosphere. And what I really want to talk about here are cyclones and anticyclones. We teach these to our students. Cyclones, this is cyclonically or counterclockwise spinning low pressure systems versus anticyclones. These are clockwise spinning high pressure systems, and we're going to deal with both. Now watch this. Focus right here on this panel first. This is the short wave coming through overnight on Sunday night and Monday morning that is going to keep lifting the air out ahead of it, producing these showers and storms moving through this part of the country. Now, divert your attention over to the upper right-hand panel, showing you what the radar reflectivity is going to look like. You can see that as we get into early Monday morning, those storms spread across Iowa, Illinois, back into parts of western Kentucky, Tennessee, and on down through the lower Mississippi River Valley. And as we move throughout the day, well, here's the tight circulation around that upper level low pressure system that is reflected here at the surface. Now come back to the panel that's right here. This panel shows CAPE, convective available potential energy. And this tells me that the atmosphere will have enough, have destabilized enough to produce strong thunderstorms. So that's where we're watching a few waves of strong storms moving across really the eastern part of the Corn Belt, really getting back into Iowa as well on the day on Monday and getting into overnight Monday. But I want you to see this. Once that moves through, we'll get it to about right there, okay? There will be a large high-pressure system that builds in behind it. So if the low-pressure systems spin counterclockwise, the high-pressure systems spin clockwise, and it's going to clear everything out. We're going to get drier air. This is a dew point map in the lower left, and some cooler air temporarily. Now, as that happens, we will be watching in the day on Tuesday, getting into Tuesday night and Wednesday morning, for the southwestern monsoon to kind of kick up again underneath this ridge. And that's why getting back into parts of Colorado and some places in the higher plains here, we will be seeing some thunderstorms blowing up in that area. But notice this, by the time I get you all the way to Wednesday morning, we're dealing with a large area of clockwise spinning motion in the atmosphere, and that's our big high. So this is really what weather patterns look a lot like when it's late fall, winter, and spring. But we're getting this here at the middle to end of summer. Now, as that moves through, yes, things dry out, but because it's got a circulation around it that is clockwise, see what I'm drawing over here in the bottom left? That's going to start the rebounding of moisture and destabilization of the atmosphere and heat to the central plains. But the question is, what is this little shortwave trough that's right here going to do once we get toward the end of the week? Because after the first system moves out, things are going to dry out for the Corn Belt for a few days, at least getting through Thursday or Friday. It's going to be watching this shortwave right here as it moves through the northern plains, potentially giving us some precipitation. So let's look at that. So I'm going to switch now to the European model and show you the same thing so we can kind of look for some consistencies here. Let's get us out through, there we go, through Thursday. Now look at this. You see a very similar pattern. The low pressure system spins, heaviest precipitation Iowa, southern Wisconsin, northern Illinois, getting into Michigan, with the scattered showers and thunderstorms. Some may be severe out ahead of this right in through this area. We've got our shortwave trough that's now coming through parts of Montana and the southwest monsoons going. That's why you see the four corner states getting storms. But as that shortwave moves through, watch the additional precipitation. There, I kind of animated it for you. Go back here. See the additional precipitation coming through the northern plains? But the only place that looks to be really missing out on a lot of this is the northern half of North Dakota, as I take you all the way out to next Saturday, Sunday time frame here. So we've got, again, another two systems to be watching. First one comes through Monday and Tuesday through the kind of central to eastern Corn Belt. Things dry out in that same region. Then we're going to watch another wave coming through toward the end of the week that could possibly hit the northern plains. Really going to be focusing in there on North Dakota and Minnesota at this point. Got to be watching more features as the week goes on. So that's kind of our setup in the short term. Now I want to shift this discussion over to now talking about temperatures. Now, you know we've been saying that the models have shown low predictability, and that's why I've only focused on 1 week forecasts. There was a shift that happened in the model runs that came out on Friday and Saturday, and it's stuck around through Sunday, and that shift has been a change in the position of the wave, the flow of the jet stream here in the Pacific. And now watch what it's going to do. First things first, as we animate this out, this is the trough moving through the Corn Belt over the next couple of days. Now what I want you to see is a ridge begins to build right down here in the southern plains, while that next trough sneaks through parts of Montana and parts of Wyoming. So there it goes. See it moving through there? Now watch this. Out west, south of Alaska, there is an anomalously high ridge sitting on top of, right here, a low. Now this is on the upper levels, but we call this a high over low pattern. It also even resembles an omega pattern. Now because that is developing here, where a week ago we had a trough sitting there in a surface low pressure system, we are now allowing for a trough to be digging in out west. And as that trough digs in out west, thank goodness for this, because this is going to give them relief in terms of temperatures. This will bring in chances of precipitation. This will help the firefight out west. But we're going to go back toward higher temperatures. You can see here that a 594 decameter high, that's 5,940 meter ridge, is going to be sitting somewhere over, Missouri, Arkansas, Illinois, somewhere in this area. And as that sets up there, that will bring in quite a bit of very warm weather. Now, at this point, the crops in the central part of the United States are so far along, I don't think it really matters too much. Especially the precipitation that's coming through in the next 12 to 36 hours. But this will signify some heat here coming in toward the end of the month, getting us into the beginning of September. Now, remember, I don't trust this more than about 10 days out. So we just step this back. Let me get you back to here. This is about as far as I'm going to trust it right now. But that signifies as we get toward the end of the month of August, cooling down out west and warming up out east. Watch what this does to the temperature patterns. So here we are, we're looking at a 5-day ECMW, so that's a European model, ensemble mean temperature. We're looking at it with respect to normal. So this week, because of the big system that's going through, we see cooler patterns. So this is getting us from today through Friday. So this is going to be another cool week, which we've been talking about now for a while. But as I animate it, it's going to just step a day ahead, giving you that 5-day spread. And there's the warmth that moves in with the ridge that's developing here, while the broader trough feature is developing out west. So these are the major players right now in U.S. weather, and it's going to be the major things we're going to have to watch as we try to finish off this growing season. Good thing is we don't have any major tropical systems in the Atlantic that are going to really disrupt things over the coming days. And that's a far cry from the way things were a year ago at this time. And with that, though, I think I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this forecast video. We at Agrible, thank you for your attention. We hope you look forward to our next forecast coming out on Thursday. In the meantime, head to agrible.com to learn how you can get real-time agronomic and sustainability insights all at the touch of a button. I look forward to talking to you again midweek.